Fourth Way by P.D. Ouspensky, Chapter 12. And the questions are always put forth by Ouspensky, and the answers are given by Gurdjieff. Question: what do you mean by practical thinking? Answer: just what is called practical thinking in ordinary language, namely, the capacity to calculate things in different circumstances. This same capacity can be applied to ideas of the work, school principles, rules, everything. Question: it seems that people in the category of lunatics or tramps are further from any appreciation of truth than the householder. Answer: there is no guarantee of that. As facts go, they can be exactly on the same level in relation to that, but their potentiality is different. Like many other things, people do not differ as manifestations go. They do not differ one from another among mechanical people. But possibilities are different. One can become different, another cannot. One can change only if a miracle happens. Another can change by his own efforts and with certain help. Question: you say that we all have parts of tramp, lunatic, and householder? Answer: try not to think about it in these terms. Find your own words. What is meant by householder, what is meant by tramp, and what is meant by lunatic? These words are not a description, they are only a hint at certain possibilities. Question: if one does not like self-discipline, is this a description? Answer: not a description, only one feature. First of all, the tramp has no values. Everything is the same. Good and bad do not exist for him, and because of that, or in connection with that, he has no discipline. A lunatic values what has no value, and does not value what has value. These are the chief characteristics, not a description. The householder has at least certain values from which he can start in certain practical attitudes towards things. He knows that if he wants to eat, he must work. Question: about the fourth category of man, who has destroyed all possibility of development? Does that situation arise in him because of some form of extraordinary selfishness? Let me read that sentence again. Okay. Question: about the fourth category of man, who has destroyed all possibility of development? Does that situation arise in him because of some form of extraordinary selfishness? Answer: yes, in most cases it is useful to know about this category, only because sometimes these people play a great part in life, but they are already there. We can neither help them nor destroy them. We must think about our own selves, our attitude, and chiefly about our understanding, because if we understand, it is already better. We accept such people more easily and know their ways. Question: are the distinctions between men 1, 2, 3, and 4 definite, or like tramps, lunatics, householders? Are we a bit of each? Answer: you absolutely spoil ideas for yourself when you take them like this and mix them up. These ideas are very important. First, you must take one quite separately and try to understand it. Then, take another and try to understand that one. The division of men, numbers 1, 2, 3, and so on, is one thing, and it is not given parallel to anything else. You must study it as it is, what is meant by man number 1, by man number 2, by man number 3. What are the various combinations of these? How they are mixed, and so on. Then take the second idea. In order to understand what is meant by householder, tramp, lunatic, and further degradations, so to speak, each must be taken separately. You cannot take them all together and talk about them in one breath. This division was mentioned in connection with the possibility of development. You must realize the enormous number of people who, by the state of their being, are incapable of appreciating real ideas. Question: Could a tramp ever be outwardly successful? Answer. This word is used to describe people who are, in the ordinary way, often supposed to be very near the possibility of development, although actually they are very far from it, further than quite ordinary people. People can know many beautiful words, speak very easily, and yet be very far from the possibility of development. Question. What is the significance of the idea represented by these three categories? Answer. The important thing is that in each of us, even if we find we have some practical attitudes and certain values, an important part of us also has no values or has false values, like the tramp and the lunatic. Question. What can help us to get more discrimination? Answer. Divide in yourself the mechanical from the conscious. See how little there is of the conscious, how seldom it works, and how strong is the mechanical. Mechanical attitudes, mechanical intentions, mechanical thoughts, mechanical desires. Question. What is the best way to work on self-knowledge? Answer. You remember I said at the beginning that there are two lines by which our development can and must proceed. The first is the line of knowledge. This is comprehensible. We must increase our knowledge, for we do not know enough either about ourselves or about the universe. The second is the line of being, for our being is not what it should be. Not only in the sense that we are half-developed beings, so that our level can be raised, but also in the sense that certain things are underdeveloped, even for our present state. I said that the chief features of our being are, for instance, that they are not one, they are many, that we are not conscious. This is inevitable, but the fact that we do not realize it can be changed. We can know it. For example, we can know that at every moment, not a single action, not a single thought comes from the whole, but only from a small part of us. We can become aware of it. Change of being, in most cases, begins with our being aware of something that we were not aware of before. But being itself can grow and develop. Our level of being can change, and parallel with that grows our knowledge. Real work is work on being, but knowledge helps. At the same time, work on knowledge is also important, and then being helps, because in the state we are in, we cannot acquire even much knowledge. It will be broken up and divided between the different I's. Sometimes people work for several years, acquire information, but do not work on their being. Then they leave. But they cannot forget the knowledge that they have acquired, and it works in them. But their being does not correspond to it, so their knowledge becomes distorted. As regards knowledge, you must also understand that there are three men in everyone. Man number 1, man number 2, and man number 3. One of them may predominate, but everyone has all three. So even in ourselves, we have three categories of knowledge. Part of our knowledge is knowledge of man number 1. Part is knowledge of man number 2, and part knowledge of man number 3. When you divide what each of them knows, you will see how a man with a strong predominance can be swayed by it. Some schools start in a wrong way from the beginning and develop imaginary qualities, such as visions and things like that. For work on being needs constant supervision and knowledge, otherwise many things can go wrong. One can take imagination for the real thing, and if one does not work on being in the right way, one's work can take a wrong turn. This is very important to understand. There must always be these two lines, one helping the other. Question. You said that one of the features of our being is that we are never one. Surely in the case of identification we are one. We are not many, but perhaps in a wrong way? Answer. Yes, but it is only one of many groups of I's. It is not the whole. And identification practically excludes all other I's. Even at ordinary moments, if you are relatively not identified, one I can be doing something and another I can watch and look in the same direction, at least a certain number of them. But in the state of identification, they are completely shut out. One small I occupies the whole field. This is characteristic of our being, that one small I calls itself I, meaning the whole thing. And that is why I say that we always lie to ourselves and to everyone else when we say I, because this is not I, but only a small thing pretending to be the whole. Question. What is it in us that makes efforts? Answer. Again, one of the I's, or a small group of them. Our aim is to be able to make right effort of self-study and self-development with a bigger group of I's, so that the small group of I's that begin self-study may grow after some time, becoming sufficiently big and strong to control the whole thing and to keep the direction. But in the beginning, it has to be educated in all that we call schoolwork by a certain kind of study. If this small group of I's with which you begin does not grow, you will not have enough strength to go on. Many people begin this work and then leave it. Nothing can be done about it, and one cannot tell beforehand. After some time, you will see for yourself whether you have enough energy and interest, because work needs energy and effort. You can get neither knowledge nor being by being passive. You have to be active in relation to the work. The chief thing to remember and to think about in connection with change of being is sleep and the possibility of awaking. You must find in yourself certain ideas, certain thoughts which will awake you.